Here's a collection of actual crimes committed by really dumb criminals. Just sit back and enjoy the insanity as we present. Stupid crime stories you just won't believe. In 2017, a Colorado man was staying at a Motel 6. Around 2 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon, he went down to the front desk to report that his marijuana was missing from his room. Hotel management then reported the incident to police. When police arrived, he told them that he was in town working at Albertsons. He said he came home from work and wanted to smoke a bowl, but couldn't find his marijuana. He had gone to the front desk to report the missing drugs and waited outside for the police to arrive. He then showed them his Colorado driver's license and a medical marijuana card. Officers asked whether he had any other marijuana in his room. He said that he only had a few dabs because someone stole his marijuana plant. He explained to officers that dabs, which are a concentrated cannabis extract, were a different form of marijuana than the leafy version. He then led the officers to his room and showed them the dabs, a glass pipe and a torch lighter. That turned out to be a big mistake, because marijuana is a controlled substance in Wyoming and illegal to possess. The officers then arrested the man for possession of marijuana. Coincidentally, while officers were making the arrest, they met another man walking up the stairs. He was smelling strongly of marijuana. The officers then proceeded to question the second man. He told police that he had just come back from smoking marijuana outside, because he was not allowed to smoke in his motel room. Officers then asked him how much marijuana he had. He told them it wasn't much and offered to show them. They then followed him into his room where the man displayed his marijuana, which totaled about 3 grams. He was then arrested on the spot. Both men were booked into the Natrona County Detention Center on suspicion of possession of marijuana. This should be a valuable lesson to all card-carrying marijuana users. Marijuana is not legal everywhere. Know the laws when you travel or you'll end up like these two men. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. In 2020, police in Kazakhstan received a call from someone complaining about their neighbor's filthy house. They reported that there was an unbearable stench coming from the home. They said that the occupants had turned the house into a dump and lived among hordes of cockroaches. When cops arrived, they had to use a crowbar to get in after the owners refused to open the front door. Once inside, they found an elderly couple and their adult son living in unbelievable conditions. There were mountains of dirty clothes piled on the floor. And just look at this nasty kitchen. It looks like it's been abandoned for years. Clearly, this place should have been condemned. And yet, a family actually lived here. But the big surprise came when they found hundreds of plastic bottles filled with urine and stored on the floor. The family had been relieving themselves into these plastic bottles for the past year after their utilities had been cut off. During that time, they managed to fill and actually save 300 gallons of urine in plastic bottles. Why they chose to keep 300 gallons of urine in their home is anyone's guess. After their eviction, neighbors got together to have the place cleaned up. According to some reports, the family was renting the home. Clearly, there is something seriously wrong with these folks. Thus, it should be no surprise that all members of the family were taken for evaluation to a local mental facility. Now you're probably thinking that no one else would ever have 300 gallons of urine stored away. After all, what would be the point? Well, we've got news for you. Back in 2013, health officials in Connecticut received reports of a vacant single-family home in a state of disrepair. They then contacted the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to investigate. Because there was also reports of suspicious activity at the rundown property, police officers went to check it out. Once police arrived on the scene, they noticed that the back door had been broken down. When they went inside, they found from 200 to 300 one-gallon plastic jugs. Each jug was filled with a brown liquid. After sending a sample to a drug lab, authorities determined that the substance turned out to be regular human urine. Officers concluded that no criminal activity was taking place at the residence. However, while charges are unlikely, authorities have not entirely ruled out the possibility. The house was expected to be demolished if the owner was unable to pay for repairs. An environmental cleanup crew was dispatched to help local and state officials dispose of the jugs. The urine was sent to a nearby sewage treatment plant. The homeowner gave no reason for his bizarre collection. That means we still have no explanation as to why people are doing this. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment below. No doubt you've seen names ending with professional titles similar to the ones listed here. These are perfectly normal and legal professions. However, in 2011, a 24-year-old man in Canada listed a rather unusual title that caught the attention of police. Jason Pauche's apartment had been under police surveillance for drug trafficking and prostitution. Police then obtained a search warrant and entered the apartment. At the time, Pauche wasn't home. But it didn't matter as he was not a suspect. Police were looking for someone else. However, while conducting the search, they confiscated his cell phone and noticed that his name was listed as Jason Pauche, drug dealer. Once they saw his professional title, he suddenly became a suspect. Pauche, who had earlier driven away from the scene, was later arrested. Both he and his girlfriend were charged with drug trafficking as well as possession of proceeds from a crime after officers discovered over $5,000 in the home that the couple shared. He pleaded guilty in the Provincial Court of Saskatoon and was given a conditional 1-year sentence. It's probably safe to assume he dropped the fancy title from his name. In 2010, a 19-year-old teen in Montana had been drinking alcohol at a friend's home. He was later dropped off at his sister's apartment. When she didn't answer her door, he tried unsuccessfully to get into her apartment through a back window. He then noticed a copy of the Ravalli Republic newspaper lying in the hallway. Perhaps the newspaper gave him an idea, because the Ravalli Republic newspaper had an office right across the street from his sister's apartment. According to reports, he figured he could break into the newspaper building and find something inside the office that he could use to pick his sister's door. So he went back outside, climbed on the roof and crawled in through an office window. Once inside, he simply made himself at home. He sat down at a computer and started watching porn. Yes, this guy literally broke into an office building and watched porn on their computer. Then he did something even more stupid. He logged into his MySpace account and later went to his Facebook page. And after leaving all that evidence, he then searched through some of the drawers where he found 2-gallon-size bags of trail mix. Apparently he hates trail mix because he threw the bags out the window. He then took a bag of M&Ms and decided to leave. But before exiting the building, he grabbed the fire extinguisher and sprayed the office. After reviewing the computer logs, police estimated that he probably spent about 3 hours in the newsroom. But more importantly, they noticed that he forgot to log off his Facebook account. Now they knew his identity, but just needed to find him. Well, once again he made their job very easy. It turns out that he left a trail of M&Ms all the way back to his sister's apartment. Remember, his sister lived right across the street from the office building. The trail led right up to his sister's front door. The teen was arrested and charged with felony counts of burglary and criminal mischief in addition to a misdemeanor count of theft. He was booked into the Ravalli County Detention Center. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Our weekly videos will feature such topics as stupid crime stories, classic TV, and the real stories behind popular songs from the past and present. There will be even more categories as we continue to grow.